Hi, so welcome back into my garage again today. We're going to be looking at the corner halving joint. The corner halving joint is commonly used for framework, but more commonly on site as a wall plate for a roof. So roof trusses or roof rafters would sit on this. The timber I'm using is CLS. So CLS stands for Canadian Lumber Standard. It usually is used for stud work. So stud work is like timber frame walls in houses. I'm going to be using this for the joint today. If you've got any other timber, just adapt the measurements, but it'll still all work the same. I'll run through the tools and then we'll get started. So the tools we're using today is a pencil, obviously, a steel rule, a combination square, a combination gauge, a tenon saw, a bevel edge chisel. I have a couple of drills, an 18 volt and a 10.8, and then our screwdriver and drill bits. So we've got a 6mm drill bit, a 3mm drill bit, and we've got a countersink bit as well. We're using the drill, so we've got our safety specs. And the timber we're using, like I said before, I'm using CLS. So I've got two pieces of CLS cut to 200mm long, and I've got two 30mm screws. So before we start marking out, we're just going to decide which way the joint goes together. This way we can add our face and edge mark. The face and edge mark is really important for marking out. It not only tells us which edge of the combination square with the marking gauge where, it shows which way the joint goes back together. So I'm going to decide mine goes like this. So I'm going to put a face and edge mark there, and a face and edge mark there. Okay, and now we can start marking it out. Like I said before, the timber is 200mm long. The overall joint is going to be 180mm long. So for the first step, I'll measure 10mm in from that edge, and then off that line there, I'm going to measure 180mm. Remember, we always work in millimetres. Millimetres, if we're working on bigger stuff, it might be metres. So then we get our combination square. That edge of the combination square goes against my edge that I marked out. Push it tight against the timber and mark that line there. And then there's my face. So again, mark that line there. So just going to continue marking this round. So the reason we come in from either edge, it's allowing it to be exactly square. This might be a machine edge, it might be something, so it's allowing it to be exactly square. It makes it more precise, so we can ensure that the joint is going to finish 180mm. And if the timber comes with some rough edges, we're making it to our best standard. So we're going to do exactly the same on this one. So I'll run through the process again. Come in 10mm from that side, off that line, 180mm. I use my square, always against my face or edge mark. Doing this should keep consistency with your line going all the way around. Okay, so now we should have two pieces exactly 180mm long. So just double checking which way our joint goes round, referring again to our face and edge marks. The joint is going to go like that, so I'm going to take this section there out, and I'm going to take this section there out. Okay, so now we mark that out. Measure your width of your timber. My timber is 62mm, so I'm going to hold it onto the line and mark 62mm there. And then I'm going to use my square across there, and then roughly halfway down. And then I'll do the same on this one, but obviously on the opposite side. So I'll double check my timber again. So there's my edge mark. I've marked it across there. There's my face mark. So my square is always on my face mark, and again marking roughly halfway down. So we're introducing this new tool now. This is a combination gauge. It's got a sharp pin there, so we've got to be careful, and it's got 2 sharp pins on this side. Combination gauge is a great piece of kit for marking out. You can get a marking gauge, so it comes just with a single pin, and you can get a mortise gauge, so it just comes with a double pin. This is a combination gauge because it has both. So I'm going to show you how to set this up. So we're going to use it to mark a line down the centre of our timber there. So first of all, we measure our timber. So that's 36mm. So I'm going to set my single pin 18mm away from this edge here. How I do it, you'll see it's got a tightening nut there. So I secure that in this hand, and I'll move it up and down with this hand, and then I'll get my steel rule, set it to 18mm to the pin, and then when I'm happy, I'm holding that nice and secure, I'll tighten that nut up there. Then I'll just double check it with my steel rule again. Before we proceed to just mark it all the way around, I'm just going to double check on my timber that it is accurate. So I'll mark a dot there, spin it around, and mark a dot there. And you'll see there's only one dot, so that means it matches up. That pin is going to go exactly in the middle. So now I'm going to show you how to use the combination gauge to mark around the top edge of our joint. Remembering that always goes on our face edge. So I'm going to put it in the vise. Face edge is there, so I'm going to secure it like that initially. You get your combination gauge, and where your line is, you just put a slight pin mark in, and then you draw your combination gauge down just faintly, and you find it drops in that pin mark. Do it once, then a bit deeper, then a bit deeper again. Maintaining this on your face edge, I'm going to do it on the end grain. This can be a bit more difficult, so you might just need to put a bit more effort on it. Put a faint at the start and then gradually get deeper. And then I'm going to move it in my vise. Again, another pin mark on my line, and just gradually slide that down so it falls into it. Gradually getting deeper. If you prefer, I think you can see that line quite neatly, but if not, you can just run your pencil line in there. So we'll repeat the same on this one. There's my face edge. If you are confident and you can secure it quite well, you can do it freehand. But similar, faint at the start and gradually getting deeper. Same there, down there, faint at the start, gradually getting deeper. Just a pin mark in there, faint at the start, and gradually getting deeper. It does take some practice, this bit of kit, but it's really, really helpful when doing basic joints. So now we're going to start cutting our joint. We're introducing the bench hook again that we made previously, and we're using a tenon saw. So first of all, we're going to cut across there. So we'll do that on both. So nice and tight on your bench hook, push it in there so it keeps it nice and secure. Always holding your tenon saw like that. It keeps it nice and secure then. It's not going to slip around, and you keep it nice and accurate on your line. I'll guide it with my thumb. And you just want to see a little bit of your line left on. Always cutting on your waist side. And we're cutting down to our marking gauge line, just like that. And then we'll do the same on the second piece. So again, in your bench hook, guiding it with your thumb. Move your thumb safely out of the way. Cutting down to our marking gauge line just there. So now we're going to cut that way down. So now we're going to secure our timber in the vise. First step is you put your timber in at that angle. Utilising your tenon saw again, you're going to start cutting along these 2 lines here. Spin it around, and now we're going to come down at this angle. And then we're going to sit the timber square in the vise. We've got a cut all along each edge, so the saw should just guiding those to finish the cut off. Just like so. We'll repeat the same on the second piece of timber. If you find it just needs a slight bit of tidying up, you can use your bent hook or you can use your vise to secure it. And then we use a sharp bevel edge chisel, making sure our hands are behind the blade, and just clean that edge up. You never go all the way across with your chisel because it might split out on this side. So we take it out and we spin it around. So the next step is going to be looking at securing our joint together. We're going to do that with screws today. Before I do that, I'm just going to check my joint is square and then mark exactly where the screws are going to go. So with a combination square, you can undo this bit here and the rule slides up and down. So I'm going to push the rule to the edge, tighten it up and just put a square on there. And I'm really pleased with that. Also just going to check the joint is flush as well, so it sits nicely there. So now we're going to mark exactly where our 2 screws are going to go. We put 2 in. Without glue, if it just had 1 in it, it would pivot and move around, so we put 2 in. So I'm going to measure 20mm in from that edge, 20mm in from that edge. Put a nice cross so we know where we're going. And then same on this one, so 20mm from that edge and 20mm in from that edge. So like I mentioned previously, we're using a 3mm pilot bit, a 6mm clearance bit and a countersink bit. In my drill, I'm going to put the 3mm bit in the chuck. This is a keyless chuck, so we're just going to tighten that up. And you see the jaws tightening. And then we're going to put our pilot bit in first. And then we'll tighten that up and you'll hear it click. And then we'll just give it 1 turn back and that's locked in. So we're going to drill this through both pieces of timber, making sure we don't go all the way through, otherwise we're going to have a hole in the other end. We set the drill on speed 2, and always when we're drilling or using any power tool, we're going to have some safety goggles. So I'm holding the joint nice and tight together, and we're going to carefully drill through. I'm going to take the top piece off, and now I'm going to swap the drill piece over. So I'm going to put the clearance bit in now. now again, going to swap it over again, and now we're going to put the countersink in. So a countersink is ideal for countersink screws. You just go a little bit down, and then your screw should sit flush with the timber. It is always worth checking them to make sure you're further enough down. And then we're going to place a joint back together. I'm using my other drill now, my smaller drill. I've got this on speed 1 because we're screwing it. Put your screw in, and then this should guide in the pilot hole and pull the joint together, making it secure. So now we've basically constructed the joint, we just need to cut our waste off. So we're going to cut these bits of waste off first. 2 ways in doing that. Use your bent truck, and you can use the line we marked earlier. So, like so. Or the other way is using your joint as a guide. So you push it in the bent truck again, use this edge of the timber as a guide, cut down like that. So now those bits have been cut off, we're going to double check the measurement, and then we can make sure we cut this so it's accurate. We wanted the joint 180mm, so we'll double check that. If it's right, we'll cut it off. If not, we'll remark the end. Yeah, so that's still accurate, so I'm going to cut that one. And the same with that one. So there's the corner halving joint done. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you are doing carpentry tasks, remember, be safe, we're using sharp tools, always wear the correct PPE. The main thing is though, just enjoy it. Thank you.